I'm trying something a little bit different here this morning. I put a heaping spoonful of hot chocolate mix in my coffee. I thought that might sort of sweeten it up and improve the flavor. However, two things are against it, and first of all, I don't need the calories, and second of all, I'm not sure if I like it. It's different, it's very chocolatey, that's for sure, but it's just not coffee anymore. I don't think I'll be doing it again. Now, one of the viewers mentioned what he thought that these little parts that we're going to be putting on here today actually are, and I had thought that that's what they were, but these are actually seats that sit around this anti-aircraft gun director, and people would sit on this and they would operate controls, obviously, that were on the sides for determining, the distance and elevation of the incoming enemy aircraft that they wanted to shoot at. Now, he also pointed out that they were sitting out in the open, and you'd have shrapnel flying around, or splinters, or whatever you call it where you live, and that was pretty dumb when you think about it. Like the people that designed these things, didn't they think of the crew, or were the guys operating these things out in the open just indispensable and nobody cared? Or maybe it was a case of it wasn't their loved ones that were out in the open getting killed. Yeah, sometimes you just wonder about that, and I sometimes can get really upset when I think about it. Okay, now that I've got my political rant out of the way here, I will be slipping the macro lens on in a minute here. I am wondering if possibly I bent this thing the wrong way. And when I get the macro lens in, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Now this is supposed to sort of just, as near as I can tell, it's supposed to go. No, not like that. Okay, at least it didn't go across the room. If it had, we could kiss it goodbye. Oh, come on, Ron. Where is that thing now? Oh, it's underneath the vise. Okay, got to reposition here. Okay, you're going to recognize this as one of those tubes that you stick on the end of your CA bottle. Now what I've done is, before the liquid started coming up the tube, or down the tube, I squeezed the bottle so that as soon as I get some on there... Okay, I won't do that again either. Let's get it down here. That's terrible. Okay, just turning it so you can see what's happening here. Now, let me check the monitor. Is that straight? Well, I'm afraid if I try to change it, I'm going to knock it off. So let's just let that harden, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I had a built, instead of having those wings go down, or tabs go down, they went the other way, and then the whole thing was flipped over. Well, maybe I will just try to adjust it here with the poking device. I think it's probably cured. Now what I've done here is I've put the remaining D52s into Windex here, and my thinking is I can get the paint off of them. You can see it's working already. They've been in about maybe at the most 10 minutes, more like probably 6. I didn't time it, but you can see that Windex sure does cut that Tamiya XF paint. Now this is the paint that we tried to paint our railings, if you remember, and the overspray went onto these things. So now I can see better what it is I'm trying to do when I've got them in Andy's Photoetch bender, or whatever I choose to use here. I don't know if I should put them in the ultrasonic cleaner yet after this or not. It could be I'll end up losing them. No, is there enough there? There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, and the one that's on is 12. Yeah, that's right, because there's 3 of those directors, and each one takes 4 of these seat brackets. Yeah, this seems to work really well. Maybe I will use the ultrasonic cleaner. And the last one. I'm dabbing them off in this little piece of paper towel here because I don't want to get any more Windex mixed in with my solution than I have to. It probably wouldn't hurt, and for all I know it might actually help. Okay, here we go. Now I was noticing that those little parts were sort of kind of clumping together, almost as though they were magnetized. Now, I don't think it was magnetism. In fact, I'm sure it wasn't. I think it had to do with the fact that the little bubbles that were hitting the sides of the parts were imploding. And if they were stuck together, the imploding bubble caused a bit of a vacuum, and the void collapsed, and the parts sort of stuck together. I can sort of see what was happening there in my mind. At least, that's my theory. I don't know if it's true or not. Anyway, I thought that the implosions might work a lot better if if the parts were separated. In other words, more little cavitating bubbles could implode on the sides of the parts. Okay, rambling again. Get them out of the ultrasonic cleaner here, and now we'll put them into isopropyl. Now I know I don't need to be doing this, but that should be good. Okay, and let's just sort of get these things positioned out on Andy's Photoetch bender here. And I will show you what I was talking about when I was saying they maybe should have been bent the other way. Try and get these back to back so that they're sort of mirror image to each other. Okay, now here you can see I have one of the round discs, and it's turned up so that you can see the little divot or whatever. And this one, of course, is the other way. On the other side of this one is a little divot, same as this. Now, this one here is, you can't see where you're supposed to bend it. Normally, when you bend Photoetch, you bend it towards the line that has been put in the Photoetch. However, if you will look right here at this, let's call it a tongue. So this tongue part that the seat is supposed to somehow fasten into, it's okay. You can see that it's shaped that if I was, oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay, we're back. At least these things don't seem to ping off very far. Okay, so if I bend it up this way, then this part here that will fit into the slot, it just doesn't seem to be right. Now maybe they couldn't do this thing so that they had it grooved on one side of it and the other way on the other side. I don't know. I realize I'm not making too much sense here. Okay, here's something that will make sense. Remember some time ago we had our little sailor man? He was machined to exactly a 6 foot tall person. if he was to 1/200 scale, that is. Yeah, so you can see that this directorate thing was probably about 4 feet high. I had thought that it was actually larger than that until I compared it with our little sailorman, who we will call Popeye. Yeah, Popeye the Sailorman. I think he was a Canadian. Yeah, and if he wasn't a Canadian, he probably wanted to be. Anyway, boy, am I going to get comments in this one. Now, I am finding with this manual that some places like this, it is not clear. Like it almost looks like this little tongue thing is supposed to be bent up. And then the disc fits on top of this thing which is bent up. In fact, the more I look at it, I think that is the way it is supposed to be. You know, it would have been really nice if Trumpeter had taken a little delicate area like this and had an enlargement of it so it would be shown clearly, but, you know, I guess they assume that people know what they're doing. Okay, now, can I bend this up without breaking it off? This should have been done before I glued it on. It could be I'm going to have to glue it on again. Okay, now let's find one of those little seats. Okay, it appears that that slot is running. Okay, now it appears that that slot is not like a round hole. It's sort of running in a direction that this should... Oh, come on, Ron. I don't know. Let's just drop it on the top and see if it centers itself. No. I've got to figure out another way to do this. Okay. Don't know if you read the comments in yesterday's video, but Peter was suggesting that I get myself a waxed pencil. Well, he's not the first one to suggest that. If you will remember, way back when we were doing the Bismarck, I actually tried to make one. Now, I can envision that if there had been some CA glue somewhere. Okay, yeah, waxed pencil. Well, this works about the same way. I can't see where a waxed pencil would help me any better than this little thing that I've made up out of the blue tack. It's the same idea. You know, you drop your part down and it lets go, and hopefully it lets go in the right place. Because when you have a very minute amount of CA, those of you who have used it, you'll know that it can suddenly cure on you, and there's nothing you can do except, you know, break it off and dissolve it off with some kind of thinner. Okay, I know I didn't show it being done here, but I got a little tiny droplet of CA medium more or less where it's supposed to go. Now, I'm hoping that when I turn this the other way up, it's not gonna fall off of there. Okay, now, can I brace myself? Maybe if I can brace myself somehow on the top of the vise here. And don't anybody dare suggest I get the detailing kit for the Rodney. Now that having just been said, I sure do appreciate it when somebody else that knows what they're doing and is a little bit more, you might say, artistic or dexterous or however you want to put it. And yeah, they do a beautiful job on the detailing kit. For instance, yesterday I was saying how I hope Peter got the detailing kit for his Arizona. Turns out he's going to get it, and he's going to do a great job. But for me, there's just going to be a whole bunch of what you just seen me doing. And I think it's just a little bit beyond me. Even though I did get that little seat in place. I just don't want to have to do that sort of stuff, 1,000 times.
Okay. I think we got it.
Right now I'm sitting here at the computer editing out everything you've just seen. And it is 2:39 in the afternoon already. The day has just flown by. I think what I'm going to have to do if I want to get more done here is I've got to start earlier in the morning. Another thing I've got to do is never put hot chocolate in my coffee again. That was not a good idea. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to call it quits here for today. Thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.